The Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Hey folks, welcome to the program. I'm Scotty Roberts, your host. This is my show, the Intrepid radio program, and it's right here on YouTube tonight. You can come to YouTube, you can come to Facebook, or you can go over to X, and you formerly Twitter, and you can find links to the live show. And if you are here, you can join the chat room, and don't just sit out there in the audience and don't participate. Come on in, don't hide your face. Nobody bites here and everybody's friendly for the most part. And you can join in with the chat and you can watch my ugly mug doing this show tonight. And so welcome to the program. We're running, started about 5 minutes after the top of the hour tonight, mostly to accommodate my busy schedule today. But for the most part, we're going to start at 9 p.m. sharp. And so keep that in the back of your head. And if I'm not there at 9, if you haven't seen an announcement that there is no show that night, come in by 9:05 and we should be here. Or just double check the timing. We're brought to you tonight by my can of Coke Zero. So let me take a swig. I've been getting some kind of sore throat. It was kind of weird. You ever get those, you get the little tickle back there one day and the next day it's a little bit more and the next day it's more. The last 3 days, I've had something, it feels like it's something like a hair in the back of your throat or a noodle or something that you swallowed got lodged on my tonsil or something. It feels like that. But then it makes my ear, I feel it in my ear too. So that means I've got something going on with my throat. Nothing major because it hasn't taken me out or knocked me out or anything. So hopefully not too much coughing and I won't wear out my voice. It hasn't seemed to affect my voice. Just that sore throat thing going on. I don't know what's causing that. And Field Guy, by the way, now that I see you over there in the chat room, we will have to send in your lingerie shots on another show. Not tonight. We'll maybe have to do that on a Friday night and get all the guys to send in their Speedo shots and all the women to send in their swimsuit shot. Hello, swimsuit shots. There you go. How's that for Brainiac Radio? A podcast with teeth. Something that will get you to think deeper and broader. That would be all of us in our swimsuits or our lingerie. My lingerie is rather limited, personally. It's comprised of like black and blue and multicolored Hanes boxer briefs. And that's it for my lingerie. So if you got something that can top that Field Guy, you're going to have to put in a picture. You've never worn a Speedo in your life. Sorry, says Field Guy. That's okay. You can find something else. Speedos. In my defense, I haven't worn a Speedo in almost 40 years. So the one picture you've all seen on the beach in Honduras, that was 1982. So I may have worn one in, I don't know, as late as the late 80s, something like that, but that's it. And I have not seen one since. So I don't even know. Do they still make them? They must. For swimmers, you go do college swimming. You're gonna be wearing a Speedo more than likely. Speedos make all styles of swimsuits, says Randall Flagg. How you doing, Randall? And I'm sure they do. I just haven't looked them up in ages. I haven't had a need to. My light is still slowly flashing green. You can see that. I could turn it off, but it adds a little kind of weird atmosphere. For some reason, it's a YouTube bulb done through Wise, who does all our security cameras we have around the house. But that bulb is supposed to be changeable on my phone. the colors. It's been blue for the last year, and it's just not cooperating now. I can't download updates to the software or anything. So it's just kind of weird. So Speedo King of Virginia Beach says Elderberry hasn't been around lately. How's Terry? He comes into the show later in the evening, usually is when I see him, or he's here through the whole show, and he'll come and say hi at some point in the show. I've seen him the last week, Elderberry. I've seen him a couple of times in the chat room. So it's good to have him. It's nice to have him. I usually encounter Terry at Terry Pitts over at Kenny B's, KB's Morning Coffee with KB. Don't be afeared. And I haven't been to Morning Coffee with KB but once in like the last 3 weeks. It's been so weirdly busy around here in the mornings. You know, Rainey works, my wife works at a local dollar store, the Dollar General here, about 2-3 minutes up the street. And it's actually around the curve over the river and up the street. And so she works up there, and she goes 3 days a week, and it keeps her pretty busy. And but all the things that get scheduled, because I work at home, because she's not working out of the house anymore, I tend to have to take kids. Now, she did today. It was her day off. She took kids to a couple of doctor's appointments. Ellie got her cast off of her arm, and Flynn had a follow-up for his MRI on his hip, stuff like that, you know. But I take him to dentist. So my morning's just gotten messed up. And I had a client that I was doing work for that it spent a lot of my time in the morning, so I didn't get to KB's show. But through the woods and under the sand to the meadow we go. That's right, field guy. And so who else is here tonight? Let's see. We got Chuck Thurston. He was here very early. Good to see you, Chuck. Glad you're here. And like you said, even though we don't see eye to eye on politics and some stuff, we're still friends. That's the way it's supposed to be. So Field Guy is here, and Elderberry is here. And we got no women folk yet tonight. And Randall Flagg is here. And so just a handful of you. And we got more that are here than are showing up in the chat room. So come on over to the chat room, folks, and enjoy yourself. And, you know, if you want to help support this broadcast, now, as you see down in the right-hand corner, be down here in the big masthead, proscenium arch, I like to call it. You see the Captain's Cabin Radio. That's for the time being. That's what we're calling ourselves, since we are no longer Odyssey Radio. Russ, my friend, is very involved, neck deep, in his work with Trek Federation. They do a community outreach and all sorts of stuff. You can go to trekfederation.com and see what they're all about. They also opened up a Star Trek, Star Wars memorabilia store in a mall in Ohio, and that's taking a lot of his time. They're also building a replica of the original Star Trek TV series bridge set, and just a half of it, doing like the half moon that you would see during most of the shows that were filmed. An on look at the navigation and the captain's chair and the elevator, the turbo shaft, and the few stations around up to Spock's station and all of that, Uhura's station. So they're building that in their shop. And so that's taken a lot of his time. That's going to be neat. I want to go out there and see that. I was able to help design what that's going to look like for some of his investors, I believe, that sink some money into the Federation. And he's going to make that open to the public to come in and use. So he got some kickback from somebody who owns the big, full Star Trek set tours. He's rebuilt every inch of the original Desilu Star Trek studio off of the blueprints. And he's up in Ticonderoga, New York. Fantastic place. But he was making rattling some chains because he saw Russ as being competition. Russ is not competition to his effort at all. Russ is building a half a bridge in a store that he's doing in an organization that Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, helped found with Russ for their community outreach. So the Czech Federation. So he's putting that in, and hopefully this year that'll be yet available. We'll see what happens with that. And let's see. Randall Flagg says, well, now, they often call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. Earl. I don't know what that's from, Randall Flagg. So it's in quotes. Steph is popping in to say hello. Hello, Steph. Cuervo Queen, good to see you. And I'm glad you made it in. So if I look a little greenish tonight, it's just the light. Trying to get that light adjusted has been problematic for me, which is weird. It's just a light bulb, but built into it is Bluetooth technology. So while it's plugged in, it's in a studio light shell. My Bluetooth won't recognize anymore, so I can't change it. I can't adjust it. I can't download new software for it. It just won't do anything. So I'm not sure why. I gotta call in and get their help desk and find out why. It's the same company that we bought all our house cameras from, our security cameras. So cheers. There we go. I get that little thing in my sore throat. That's why I brought that up. I take a drink and it's like, struggle with that. It's been that way for 4 days. You think it'd be gone by now. It's not. But it's not getting any worse. The Bruins game has got me like, oh my God, what the fuck? So sorry, Steph. Yeah, we were talking Speedos for a while there. And we did not show your lingerie picture again tonight. So that would have gotten prompted everybody. Field Guy wants us to do another one of those. Everybody send in your lingerie bikini shots or swimsuit Speedo shots. We'll see. We'll see. I'll let you know if we're ever going to do that again. But that was an interesting off-the-cuff kind of day, wasn't it? That was when I was filling in for Kenny over on Morning Coffee with KB. That's when we did that. So there's that. Tonight, I have no real topic tonight. I stood outside, and what a gorgeous couple of days it's been. I've gotten sun. I've gotten outside and mowing the grass for the first time. Rainey wanted to do this No Mow May, they call it. I don't know if that's nationwide where they do that, but up here, No Mow May. It's to help benefit the bees. Okay, I can see that. I don't have a lot of wildflowers in my yard, but we have a lot of dandelions. And I could go through and pick them. Rocky Stucci Media is here. Rocky Stucci. Rocky, you should call in. I am serious. You should call in like right now. Let's see. Let me grab you a link. And by the way, anybody wants to call in, you can call in now during showtime since we're no longer on Odyssey Radio and we don't have that technical glitch that we've had. There is the link pasted into the chat room if you want to join us. I highly encourage Rocky Stucci to come in and join me tonight. And anybody, if you want to call, he says, I'll be home in about 15. I'll be here. We'll be here for at least another hour or more, Rocky. So there you go. What? Yeah, Rocky Stucci, we aren't. Russ, without getting into detail, again, I already kind of explained it, but Russ shut down Odyssey Radio. Just too much going on. His plate was too full, and he's got other personal things going on, so he just shut down Odyssey. So we are now just on our own. We're now not radio. We're a podcast. We're over on YouTube, and that's it. And you can get to the YouTube link through everywhere else, and broadcasting through StreamYard. So Field Guy never did get his radio show. I'm sorry, man. Didn't Soros buy Odyssey, or was that a different Odyssey? Different Odyssey. No, I don't think he bought Odyssey Radio. ODYSY was our Odyssey, not ODYSEE. That's a totally different Odyssey. Soros, no, he had nothing to do with it. So, yeah, it was good reasons for Russ. he needed to shut that down. So I think it's just put on hiatus for now. I don't think he obliterated it and took it out to a gravel pit and shot it in the head or anything. He just was done with it. So for now. He bought one of them. Yeah, he bought Odyssey something. Odyssey, not a unique name, sad to say. So when you're trying to set up a website for your company named Odyssey, you're going to run into 100 different things. So Odyssey was ODYSY for the spelling. Odyssey Radio. So, folks, hang on to your butts because Rocky might be coming in sometime in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Here's Field Guy, though. Field Guy's icon anyway. How you doing, Fieldy?
I'm doing good. About
Right
yourself,
on.
sir?
I am about as good as I can be right now. I've got ailments. I've got old man junk going on, but other than that, old man junk. All my
Old
joints
man
hurt.
junk.
All my joints hurt. I'm tireder than usual. More tireder than usual. And my hair's getting whiter by the day. So, and the more I stand out in the sun, the more bleached my white hair gets. So, how much more bleached than white can you get? It looks whiter when I get tan. My tan, so you can see I'm getting a little sun color.
Mm-hmm.
Being outside, my hair looks whiter. So, anyway, so what's up with you, man?
Not much. Had today off. Didn't really do anything. I took a day where I did nothing.
I don't feel like doing anything. Bum, 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 bum.
No, I never did get my radio show.
Never did get your radio show. Well, you should make one.
That's okay.
Make it a radio. Elvis is in the building. I haven't seen Elvis for a while. Good to see you, brother. Smash the like button, he says. Yeah, do what Elvis says.
Abilities.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. That helps my algorithms over there.
Smack the booty.
If you can't become a member, put in a few bucks for the show, hit the like button. That helps me. It helps my algorithms over on YouTube. So thank you all for being here. So you didn't do nothing today.
I'll do something tomorrow.
You do something tomorrow. You going to work tomorrow?
Nope, I'm off tomorrow too.
Off tomorrow too. So Wednesday and Thursday are your weekend? Your weekend's Wednesday and Thursday?
Usually it is, yeah. Unless I take a day off.
Yeah.
I work Sundays and I usually work Saturdays because no one else wants to.
Right.
Nobody wants to work, so they say, well, you'll do it. And I said, well, you pay me. Okay, fine.
Right.
It is what it is.
Let me turn that a little bit. There we go.
I don't argue with them.
Yeah. Well, and my daughter was talking about socialism. I said, well, that's when you have to work, but you don't really work, and the government takes care of you. So that's your Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, if I can get those crazy checks that everybody talking about,
What crazy checks are you talking about?
The one where people claim they're crazy and the government gives them money somehow.
Was that like you remember MASH? Remember Klinger always trying to get a Section 8?
Yeah, something like that. My
So all
friend
you got to do is be crazy, huh?
My friend gets $1,100 only because
just for being nutty.
Yeah, he attempted to take a knife and do something 3 times. I don't want to get graphic, but yeah.
Right.
So after the 3rd time, they said, okay, well, we'll just give you money if you don't go outside. And he's like, okay.
Just don't go outside anymore. Don't leave your house anymore.
Pretty much. That's what he does. Gets $1,100 and he doesn't do anything. I'm like,
yeah.
That's great.
And by the way, Rocky is right. He said right here, he says, I get it, brother. This shit can be debilitating. Doing a radio show. I know when COVID hit and everybody was sequestered in their homes, everybody was doing podcasts. And it's like, it's not like that's easy, folks. Some people, maybe it is. They get a little microphone and they blether on for a while. But if you want to do anything of quality and do radio, you got to schedule it. You got to have topics. You've got to look good. And if you can't if you're not good, at least look good. And excuse me, belch
Looking good,
right
feeling
on it.
good.
What's that?
Looking good, feeling good. But I was never
Looking good,
sequestered. I wasn't hiding during. I call it rabies,
Right.
or as my co-host calls it, Hong Kong Fooey.
Yes. Yes.
Because you never can be too careful with YouTube. What rules you do and do not break nowadays.
Ain't that the truth?
So I use
Yeah,
code words
YouTube
for all
will
that
nail you for
stuff.
nothing these days. I'm surprised I don't get nailed more. I think that's because I try to handle myself diplomatically. And I don't think anybody here listening to this show, excuse me. Sorry, folks. I've got carbon gas from my drinking carbonated beverage on air. So if I slip a little belch out every now and then, just let it pass. Nobody will be really too offended. But I won't do it with great regularity. But I will tell you this. Doing a radio show requires a little bit of forethought. It requires looking as good as you can look. It requires being able to talk. And when you don't have anything to talk about, like tonight, can I talk? I've been talking pretty solid for 26 minutes. Well, 21 minutes, because we started at 5 after. But this is why I know Sarah Yusuf will always try to pull me back on track. You know why I get off track sometimes and why I rabbit trail? Because I talk. And if I've tried to develop the art of talking so I can be entertaining and informative all at the same time. There are people that do, I've seen some podcasts that are not very good. I've seen some that are really good. Now, if I didn't worry about video to go along, a visual to go along with my show, oh, this would be a snap. You just talk. You get on, you talk your piece. You don't have to look decent. You don't have to look like I'm making eye contact with the camera instead of reading my script. I've become a really good reader doing radio over the last 20 years. When I first started, I had the guy that was kind of teaching me how to do radio, teaching me how to talk. He says, "You're taking too many breaths. You sound like you're out of breath because you're nervous." He says, "Just don't be, and do this and this and this and blah, blah, blah." And I developed that, and I talk a lot. And that's made me talk a lot in life. So my wife says, "Yo, Scotty, say it in 10 words or less, please." And there's Scotty. He keeps talking. Hey, Josh Kemp, good to see you. So Rocky was talking radio. He says, yeah, he said this stuff can be debilitating. What else did he say? He said something to Steph up here. Steph, the one here in Dallas. So I missed what that was about. Maybe his radio show. Didn't Soros? Soros bought the one in Dallas. There it is. Okay, different. Hey, Barbie D. Welcome to the program tonight. And so radio being debilitating? Yeah. What do you got there?
Oh, something I got something that was at work. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer tarot deck.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I can't show the other part, but right next
deck
next. Oh, right next to well, I don't know if I can show this.
What is it?
It's a lubricant.
Oh,
I'll just leave it at that.
Lubricant unless it's got nudity on it.
No, it doesn't. But it doesn't have nudity on it or nothing. But it's right next to the lubricant.
So the Buffy the Vampire Slayer tarot deck is right next to the lubricant.
Yeah. Now mind this. I work for
you.
This company is a Christian-owned company, but we got a whole bunch of sex toys in for sale yesterday.
And tarot decks.
Oh, they get anything. It's a salvage store. The Target stuff, Overstock,
sure.
They get anything.
Well, most of your really dyed-in-the-wool Christian store owners, they're not going to put out tarot decks either. So, that's the way it works.
Oh, last week this lady came, and I wasn't there that day, but she came in, and she must have had a bachelor party, and she came in with boxes and boxes of unused handcuffs and
Nice.
other materials.
The unused handcuffs. Well, that's
unused,
good.
like unused material, like I don't know all the stuff, and then they put it on the shelf and it's sold within 2 days.
Wow. Well, I
And I'm just like,
suppose, you know.
okay. like unused stuff. Like I don't know all this.
Right.
I know I
Right.
saw a pair of handcuffs there,
Yeah.
but
So,
weird stuff.
yeah, I get it. I get
They
it.
donate stuff,
My
and then
last new tarot deck that we bought was, I think it was Disney Villains. It was like the animated Disney villains, like Maleficent and all those other ones. It might have been more than villains, but it was pretty cool looking.
Hmm.
We bought that and gave it to my daughter, who wants to learn how to do that. My daughter, my 12-year-old, wants to learn how to tattoo. By the way, she
I
was
think I
down
saw
here
that. Did you post a
using
picture of that?
the tattoo gun. So
I saw that somewhere where you posted it. I don't remember
yeah,
where.
she's
Instagram or
working on
Facebook.
that. She wants to
I
learn,
can't.
so by the time she's 16, she could do it legally. So
Why not? I wish I
why
knew how to
not?
draw.
I just got a whole bunch of needle tips come in, so I can hopefully go through my final round of practicing before I go skin. And I got a buddy who wants me to do a Celtic knotwork wolf head, something down his arm. And that would probably be one of my very first ones that I do. So, first big ones anyway. I'll start doing some small ones, but we're getting there. It's more my nervousness about screwing up art on somebody's arm that's permanent. You know, you can go through and you can fix something, but I would hate to be all done with a tattoo and step back from it, wipe it down, and go, wow, you can see all my brush strokes or pen strokes. You can see it doesn't look right. It's that solid didn't turn out as solid as I wanted to. We're gonna have to let you heal so you can come back and I can darken that up. Or I don't want to see a tattoo I do in 6 months is all blurry because I didn't do it right, or I didn't set the depth right, or I didn't whatever. So that's the stuff I'm into right now. The actual rendering part I can do. It's the understanding the tech of it. So
I think a good tattoo should last a while. I know my dad got a tattoo on his back, on his shoulder, Yosemite Sam, and it lasted a good almost 20 years before you had to get it recolored in.
oh really?
And ironically, it was the same person that did it the first time.
Oh wow,
He was
that's
still
pretty cool.
around, so he recolored it in. But my dad's got a bunch of tattoos on him. His whole back is the American flag.
That's pretty cool.
He's got the devil on his middle finger. He's got the devil on his right middle finger and left middle finger. He's got Yosemite Sam on his back.
Yeah.
He's got a flame on his arm, on one arm, and he's got a cross on the other one.
Nice. Well, I'll have to see what what happens as I start getting going on this, and how well I do. And because I want to do it, my wife wants me to do it. She thinks I could go soft into my sunset years tattooing.
You can make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
I think you just have to get a license or something, maybe.
I've heard there's a lot of money to be made tattooing. And we've, in our little tiny town here, which isn't even a full city block long, there's not much business here. The businesses here are like liquor stores, bars, gas stations, hardware store, and businesses around the outskirts of town. There's not a real good, solid downtown strip, but we now have, as of last month, 3 tattoo shops in this town. So this might not be the town for me to start my tattooing in, because there's already 3 of them, which is too bad, because I was thinking I could do it right out of here. And but we'll have to see what we're gonna do.
Well, tattoo shops pop up, like there's a bunch of vape shops around here that just popped up in the last year.
Yeah, we got a vape shop here too.
They just pop up, they're just gonna pop up.
And we are a rural community, literally. The main intersection in town is a Holiday Station, an open lot, and 2 bars on the other corners. Then there's the bridge that goes across the river. Then you're in the outskirts. You know, that's where the dollar store is up there. And there's a Quick Trip up there. There's a Dairy Queen up there. We've got no real restaurants in town. We do have a local Greasy Spoon Diner, which is really good to go eat at, in a little house-looking building off the strip. And there's a Subway, and that's it until you cross the bridge and you go to Dairy Queen. So that's all we got. So that's all the bigger this town is. That's fine. I like the farming community. You know, we're 15 minutes to the outskirts of the Twin Cities across the river. And everything we want is up there, and we're 15 minutes from New Richmond. Hold on.
It ain't me,
no
folks.
idea who's calling. Oh, I know who that is.
It's not me.
Hey, Mike, I'm doing radio right now. Can I call you back? Okay, sounds good, brother. Bye. Friend of mine trying to get hold of me that I haven't talked to for a long time. So he said, nope, call him back tomorrow. So
I would have been like, well, I got to take the show over again.
There you go. Yeah. Tomorrow. I'll talk to him tomorrow during the day. I put up a post today about dream interpretation. And I said, anybody out there interpret dreams? I said, give me a shout.
Oh, I didn't see that post.
And that was on my Facebook. I put that up.
Oh.
And Mike called me. Now, Mike is a pretty dyed-in-the-wool skeptic. He is not just a skeptic. I think you could almost place him in that category of skeptic atheist, very vehement skeptic. And he and I have gone around and around about it. But Mike is also a good guy. He's a good friend. Has been a good friend. We haven't talked much in years intimately, but we are in the same circles of friends. He was a movie producer. He did a movie that went out for theatrical release back in, when would it have been? It would have been in the early 2000s. The early 2000s, called what was it? It was about who's the big fat movie producer dude that does all the liberal movies? Michael Moore. Michael Moore is an idiot. I think it was called something like that. Michael Moore is an idiot. Let's see. Hold on. Michael Wilson is his name. He's the producer and the director on Michael Moore.
A big fat tub of goo doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Call it. Michael Moore Hates America was the name of his documentary, and it hit national theaters. So my friend Mike did a good job with this. But Michael Moore Hates America. It's right here. It's a documentary film directed by Michael Wilson that criticizes the work of film director Michael Moore. Premiered September 12th, 2004 in Dallas, Texas at the American Film Renaissance Film Festival. And the film and its poster are patterned after Moore's film Roger and Me, during which Moore attempts to chase down Roger Bonham Smith for an interview. And in this case, Wilson seeks an interview with Moore. And Wilson also adopts other aspects of Moore's style in his efforts at satirizing. For instance, Wilson interviews a mix of Americans across the country and well-known figures like conservatives Dinesh D'Souza, David Horowitz, Andrew Breitbart, liberal Albert Maisleys, I think is the way you pronounce his name, and fellow libertarians such as Penn Jillette and Tim Slagle, Penn Jillette of Penn and Teller, and Wilson, who, by the way, I've mentioned before, Penn and Teller got their start right here at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival almost 40 years ago. You should see, somebody just put up some pictures of them the other day. Should have seen them when they were young. And not a world phenomenon. So I've had my
you could watch the when he had long kind of hair, like the old Letterman shows in the mid '80s.
Yeah,
they're on there.
Yes,
I watched one the other day.
And Penn is the guy. He's the one who told me. He's a good friend. My friend Carr Hagerman, who was the one accused of rape from the festival, and he was acquitted. All of that, or it was dismissed. Well, whatever you do, found totally innocent. It's the bottom line. Um, Gillette is a good friend of his, and Carr's a good friend of mine, and so Penn and I have talked a lot. I was out at the festival. We kind of crisscrossed back then, but didn't really know each other well. Got to know him through Carr more, and he's the one that was kind of taking me to task way back when I first was working with the Ghost Hunters back in 2009, 2010. And Penn said something to me like, come on, Scotty. He says, I thought you were a better thinker than that to believe in ghosts. And, that's a bunch of, like it shows, that's a bunch of bullshit. And I said, it's really not. I said, you should come along with me and do a ghost hunt. And he was somewhat intrigued, but said, nah, you prove to me that there are ghosts and then I'll come along with you. I said, well, why don't you just come along and see what it's all about? And Mike Wilson was kind of the same way about that. Mike actually did come on a ghost investigation with me. So, but he's still a skeptic, despite what he saw and experienced. But if you want to look up Michael Moore Hates America, that's my friend Mike Wilson, who produced and directed that movie. So,
I'm going to have to watch that because it sounds intriguing.
Steph, that's a loaded question. Steph asked, what was your dream, Scotty? There was lots of weird stuff in that dream. And
2 circles.
I told Rainey about this dream. It was not a sexual dream. But it's one that stuck with me all day now. And the most vivid, colorful dreams are the ones that seem to be more messages for you. And it involved somebody that's very well known. Let's put it Hollywood celebrity status. But was a waitress at a bar where I was sitting, and everything was brightly lit and colored. There was sunlight coming in. I was at an event that was celebrating. The event that I was attending was celebrating another artist, writer, who is very well known, of course, in my dream, nameless, faceless. And I was there to attend, to see this guy get his award, and whatever award it was, I don't know, but some renown. And I was sitting at the bar, and my waitress was this Hollywood personality. And it was very interesting because she expressed being in love with me. Now, it sounds weird to relate it, but in the dream, it was very natural. Professed to be in love with me, knew I was married. I never really saw much of her. She was very close, and we were talking, and there were people talking around us, and I was whispering because I didn't want things to get. And I said, "You do know I'm a married man," and yeah, and she was very sad and disappointed, and she was like almost cheek to cheek, and we're talking, and then I got called away by somebody that said, "You're being asked for," and at this guy's event. And they were showing off his art, and there was they said this he thought would be a surprise for you, and he had done a picture of me in his latest book, and it was weird because I thought, why is he doing a picture of me? And then the next thing in there, because of this, I'm being granted some kind of granted is not the word. I'm being bestowed on me like a priestly blessing of some kind. Now, I'm not Catholic, and I don't know all the rituals and routines, but this Catholic priest was there, and he says, we're going to do a blessing. And it was like a big thing, like a big notary. And there was some ceremony where the next scene, he's all in his priestly garments, and we're in front of a huge crowd, and he's got a big staff, and on the staff is a banner, a long banner that with a pointed end on it. And he drapes that over my head as I'm facing him and offers words of blessing. And then my alarm went off. And and it was the whole dream. Let me express this. It wasn't like we were at some dry, weird, hotel-looking, office-looking event. Everything was bright and colorful and bright sunlight and golden. And all the artwork and all the fixtures in the bar and in the building seemed to be like, it was almost like they were made for claymation, but much more sophisticated, much more high end. It would be like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe the art. Like sculpted art and a highly painted, full color, brilliant colors and bright and amazing art. Even the picture of me was done that way. And so all this art was there. And then everything suddenly turned around and is honoring me. And it's not like, yeah, thank you. It's a dream about honoring me. Thank you. Thank you. And it wasn't like that. It was like a surprise in the dream. And so it was very interesting. I didn't dream of not an exorcism.
Be gone, Satan!
I don't know where you got that. Maybe from the priest bestowing some blessing. I mean, he used like the benedictory blessing, like the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. And, it was that kind of a thing. And so it was very interesting in the dream. And so it was interesting. It's like, why this person, this celebrity, why that intimacy? It wasn't sexual in nature. It was like love in nature, like deep love of some kind being expressed. And I'm like, okay, I'm a married man. Thank you. Wow, I'm taken back. And then I'm called away immediately to this event. So it was very interesting. So
it's weird
very
what the
peaceful,
subconscious thinks. It's really weird. Like you're not even thinking about it. It's like something you could have picked up in the hippocampus or something. It just, it's weird. I used to have these weird dreams. I'd be with my friend and like he would fall off a bridge or I'd be standing there or I would get shot. He would be looking at me and I would tell him this and he would sometimes have the same dream. Like it's weird.
And so when I woke up, it was like, that was vivid. And I was like, my alarm went off and I always hit the snooze. My alarm goes off at 6:45. If I don't wake up earlier, my alarm goes off at 6:45 and I hit snooze 3 times. It was 7 and I kept dreaming little bits of this dream in between, but it had all taken place in probably the 1 minute prior to waking up to the first alarm. Then it's like my brain wanted it to go on. I wanted to find out more. What's this about? And I didn't get much more. But
see, I do that sometimes. I don't hit the snooze button. I'll wake up and I'll start a completely different dream that has nothing to do with the first dream. And I'll do this 2 or 3 times. Like, let's say I fall asleep 30 minutes later. But do you ever get to a point where you sort of know you're dreaming within the dream and you're like, oh, I know this is a dream, but I'm just going to let this go? Because I've gotten to that point where it's so ridiculous. It's like, okay, I'm not the mayor. I'm not the president of France.
Right.
I'm not on a deserted island with 32 hot ladies. I know this is a dream. Ah, the hell with it. And you wake up and you're like, I knew it.
Right. So, Sarah, no, it didn't answer anything about existence of God for me. It seemed to be something very different at the core of that. So we'll get into that. Field guy, talk for a minute. I am going to run out. I'm going to run out and take a little break because I need to, because I didn't do it before the show.
We'll turn this into my stream.
On full screen, and you take it away, brother.
I shall. All right, folks. Now we're turning this into my stream, which I do tomorrow. So, I don't do topics. I just talk about bullshit, talk about whatever the hell I want. I did one this morning. Nobody was in there, but whatever. I'm going to take the George Carlin approach. I don't really believe religion and politics are like the 2 things I don't talk about because they're from the same angle, from the different angle. So I don't know. Oh, wait, Scotty's gone. Hey, ladies, just send in your bikini pics too no, I'm just kidding. I do remember a show. I don't go on Kenny's show because it's Facebook and I'm not doing Facebook crap. I do remember this was on YouTube. Scotty's probably got the same pics. My laptop deleted my crap. So I don't have any more crap pics anymore. So, So, got to start all over with that nonsense. But anywho, if Sarah can prove the existence of God, the National Enquirer will give her $20 billion. So we all got to have a sense of humor here. But I'm disappointed that Russ did not give me a radio show. I'm very disappointed in that. But that's okay, because I have my YouTube thingamajig. So we bullshit, we talk, we have fun. I'm going to do mine around, 7:30, 8 o'clock tomorrow. I don't know. The serious people never come on my stream, because I'm not serious. I like cereal, but I ain't serious. But there is a mass irony. The Shroud of Turin, is it real? I don't know. I wasn't there. I have no idea. It's a picture of a man they call Jesus. Is it real? The hell if I know. People say it is. Is the Batcave real? Hell, for all we know, we could be worshiping the wrong God. You do realize the Egypts worship cats. All these religions, all these civilizations had their own things to worship. So I don't know.
Yeah, they did. And I'm back.
So there we go. That was a filibuster.
I even had time to give my wife a kiss on the way. So how about that? Not everybody can say that.
Well, there you go.
So, I hope you had fun.
Sure. The same thing I do on my streams. I just filibuster about nonsense.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's what we do. Cats will eat your corpse, said Sarah. So.
Yeah, they probably will, but I don't have any cats.
No, I think this dream was deeply personal. It dealt with personal stuff. Probably something because it was so. I had a good friend of mine that you all know, Nancy Planetta. She called me on this today, and we talked about this and for a little bit, and she said it all is really something that was, in a way, she didn't put it this way, but in a way, dealing with my own insecurities about things, my own view of myself about things, and she said God was certainly in there with the clay. Everything was clay figurines made of clay, and this and she had so many things she brought up. I should have recorded her. We just had a very short conversation about it, but so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I think I'm going to talk to Sarah Soderlund tomorrow and get her take on things as well. We tried to connect today, and she got tied up. I got tied up different points, and we never did. So,
who tied who up?
Don't start that rumor. So, Sarah said, I missed most of the show. We'll have to watch it on replay. Well, Sarah, you can call in anytime now. So, hey, John Piper, good to see you.
Get to the point right before I jumped on and go, okay, that's it. Boom.
There it is. There it is. Since we're now not broadcasting on Odyssey Radio, we're going to be taking more guests on as the show itself and the meat of the show itself, and really change up the format a little bit. So we'll open it up to callers whenever anybody wants to call in. We might have Rocky Stucci calling in a few minutes. Still waiting to hear from him.
He said 15 minutes, and that's been 25 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, he probably got home. He's got stuff to do. Get taken care of. We'll see if he makes it in. You never know. Once you walk in the door at home, life changes. So, from what you were expecting.
I walk in the door, I go to sleep.
Yeah,
Generally.
yeah. I get up in the morning, I drive the kids to school, and I go to sleep. Just about.
Yesterday, I got home from work. I said, okay, it's 4:10. I didn't miss much of Scotty's show. I flip it on, no show. And I go, okay, I must have missed something.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Oh, you're talking about Robertson. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to do a Robertson, and Wendy She's doing a couple of different shows this month. And she got so tied up, she just couldn't do the show yesterday. So her May
when I check Facebook every 2 or 3 days, and then I'll start getting everybody's posts, and I'm like, okay, it's a miracle. I got Grumpy's post today about his tire shop. I was like, oh, got that.
I just saw an invite to Grumpy Stack Tires.
Yeah, that's what I did. I got to ask him. He already had a Facebook page. He must have made another one.
Yeah, maybe he rebuilt it. So
probably
he did something.
Should wake him up. Go, come here.
Sarah's saying, where is everyone? That's been the question we've had the last couple of weeks, Sarah.
I scared him away with my awesomeness.
It's weird. So, I don't know. My audience is dropping a bit. Maybe that's me.
Wait, we got 8 in here? Hell, 8's a high water mark for me.
Oh, really?
Well, it used to be.
Well, according to mine, we've got 11 in the chat room. So, but that's just the chat room.
I had 13 last week, though, but usually it's like 4, 6, maybe 8. Back in the day, I used to have 40, 50. They disappeared.
My shows aren't averaging as much as they used to, but my numbers have gone up. So that's it.
I noticed that. You jumped up like 800 subscribers, but yet no new people's been in the chat.
I know. And that's like, I don't buy subscribers. And
it just must be
I'm going to buy them. I'm not going to buy just 800.
Steph says that a lot, Sarah. I'm just kidding.
I've got a friend who he reached like 47,000 subscribers in his first week. And I said, come on, dude, you bought those. No, I didn't buy them. It's all, and I'm like, that is not organic.
It depends on what YouTube pushes, because I've had shorts in the first 10 minutes get like 4,000 views, and I've had like short videos under a minute on YouTube, and they get whatever. And then I don't know, like I would do like I had a Saints YouTube page, which I haven't did last year, but I would do a live stream after the Saints game, and I would get like 400 people in there. You never know if it's bots or not, because it'll have. I'm not calling Sarah a bot, but it'll have like. You know how Sarah's got the S. You'll have somebody on there, Bob Johnson, and it'll have a B. Or you know, so you never know if it's real, it's fake, it's somebody from 2 accounts, 10 accounts. You never know. But I did a live stream once, and I didn't have the subscribers, but I had something like 12,000 watch hours on like a 2-hour live stream. But I didn't have the watch hours. But
I get a lot of watch hours.
I don't get those anymore.
Before I had Intrepid Radio, I was doing Adventure Town Communique. It was just kind of my own it wasn't really a radio show. And I was averaging about the same I do now. You know, anywhere from 93 viewers to 188, a couple hundred here. I had some old, like when I was reading my books, some of those, you know, got 500 views a night. And, you know, I'm seeing 558, 405, stuff like that. I've got, what was that? I was just like when I did the King David series 4 years ago, almost 5 years.
You got a lot of views on that, I saw.
Lots of views on that. It's 1.2K viewers on one of them.
You can't predict the algorithm. The guy that created it can't predict it. It's like some things you think's going to do good, and it doesn't. Some things you think, I'll just throw it out there.
Well, this show, in just the last week alone, now these are just YouTube views. These weren't listens over on Odyssey, and doesn't include Facebook. But here, it's like the Spirit of Amalek, the last show we did, 82 views.
Oh, I missed that when I fell asleep.
81 views, 10 signs your house is haunted. Let's see. No, that was Scary Stories, 86 views. Hold on. I'm squinting, and I got glasses right here. Just reflects everything.
Steph, I thought you would say yes, master.
Yes, master.
That's 2 good ones.
So, you know, I'm getting like 55 to 75 to 85. So rarely over 100 anymore. And I thought, maybe I'm getting old and tired. Well, I just did, we had 264 on Robertson last week.
264
So-
views.
What's that?
264 views.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
And they range, in numbers. And I was doing the coffee show of my own. I do Kenny's show, KB, 104 views, 136, and stuff like that. So that's where I'm averaging. But you look at some radio shows that are out there on YouTube, and they're doing 1,000, 20,000 views of one episode. It's like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. I just don't have the audience, I guess. Here's Sarah. Sarah, how you doing?
Hey guys,
How's it going?
it's been a tough week.
Has it? And it's
Yeah.
only Wednesday. Well,
Yeah.
tomorrow, as they call it, is the gateway to the weekend.
It's hump day.
It's hump
I don't know,
day.
but it seems like not just out in the world and politically and there seems to be way more unrest, but even on a personal level, it's been tough over these past couple of months. It feels like it's getting worse and worse and worse, but it's just something we just got to get through, I guess.
Yeah.
As soon as we get rid of Senor El Presidente, Alzheimer's, dude, we'll be fine.
Yeah. I really don't understand why America would want to vote him in again. I can understand if they don't like Trump, they don't like Trump. That's fine. But why would you say we can do 4 more years of Biden just so we don't get Trump? It's because I think they know Biden's not really in charge of anything.
They must either be rich or somebody's paying them under the table for those votes.
I don't know what it is, and I don't know why America couldn't, why we can't vote ourselves out of the situation we're in. And right now it really is. You got to vote for one or the other. Now, didn't I just hear that Bernie Sanders has put his hat into the race?
Oh, hell. I didn't hear that, but that's who my dad wants as president.
I saw him on the news talking in the background. I wasn't paying attention. And somebody said, did you hear that Bernie Sanders announced that he's running?
Isn't he older than Biden?
Probably.
Good Lord.
But if he's running,
how many old senior people need running?
What does that do to the left vote? That's
Makes
not
them go to the right.
That's not really going to affect the Trump vote because Bernie Sanders is about as far left of right as you can get. So it's not going to be like Republicans and conservatives are going to go, oh, hey, we got a viable choice now. Let's vote for Bernie. They aren't.
They're going to split the vote.
So, I think we need a big change in government right now to fix the economy. Primarily the economy, the border, the big things that people are concerned about. They need fixing, and the left is not going to do it. So at least not in a way that I think is better for the country. So what do you do with that difference of political ideology? I can be as diplomatic as I want and say, you're welcome your view, I'm welcome to my view, and we can still be friends. We can still have a pint at the end of the day, which is true. But then what do you do when you say, but your political ideology of how to run the country is damaging the country? Now, do both sides will say that. Somebody talked to me about the abortion issue. And I said, it's right where it's supposed to be now. It's been remanded to the states. It's a states issue, not a federal issue. And people are trying to build a case for making abortion a federal issue, that the federal should have jurisdiction over. I think that is not constitutional. That's not what the federal government was devised to do. Federal government was supposed to defend the country. Now, people want to play gymnastics of the imagination and say, well, healthcare is defending the country too. That's not what the intent was. That's supposed to stay in the states, under the state's purview. Well, then you don't have law that hits every state then. Well, no, you don't, because you have 50 independent states. You're going to have some states approve one thing, some states will approve a different thing. Some states won't approve it at all. And so that's the beauty of having 50 independent states.
Yeah.
And the federal government was created by the 50 independent states, not to run jurisdiction over the states or to have constitutional law, legal jurisdiction over the states. It is subservient to the states. So when you have an issue of federal, what if we remanded to the federal? A military, because that's to protect the nation from foreign adversaries. That's under federal purview. States, healthcare goes to the states. It's not a federal issue. Abortion is not a federal issue. Marriage is not a federal issue. That's a state's issue. That's why I was against the Defense of Marriage Act, which a lot of conservatives were for. They wanted to define marriage as being just between a man and a woman. And they wanted to amend the Constitution with that. I said, no, that's frivolous in my view. That's an opinion. That's a viewpoint. That should not be in the Constitution. You can put that to state law if you want, but that's not federal law. Federal government needs to keep its hand out of things. So there you go. There's my little spiel on all of that.
They're working down right now here still to amend the Louisiana state constitution, which was written in 1974. It's been amended 287 times. Actually, our governor, I like him. He's Republican. He used to be the attorney general. He's actually saying, hey, he called a special session and he goes, hey, I should have 100% power. The hell with the Senate and the House in Louisiana. I should have the final say. And he's pissing a lot of people off. But they were going, not even Huey P. Long did that. But
right.
But he's passing all of these laws. He's taking care of things. I think he's improving the state already. But a lot of people thinks, well, oh, he's a dictator, he's emperor, he's blah, 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 blah. Because he wants to just forego the House and the Senate and just say, okay, I'm voting on this. I'm going to, he wants to do what he wants to write executive laws. Some are good, some are bad. I agree with pretty much most of his stuff,
Yes.
But
well, hey, hold your thoughts, everybody. Sarah, sit there for a second. I'm going to just play the opener for the Captain's Cabin. I'm going to go grab another something to drink. I'll be back in 1 minute, folks. 1 minute.
2 and 2.
So don't
like
go.
Chuck Woolery said.
2 and 2, he'd say. Well, however you do that. So everybody sit tight. We'll be right back. And we're back. It was that easy. Look at us. We're right here.
What? I thought I was going to have to jump in and say, welcome, folks.
Welcome, folks. Arr. Arr. Welcome to the Captain's Cabin. So, Sarah, what's your thoughts on all of this stuff? You don't have to say what you don't want to reveal about where you vote. I happen to know, most people can ascertain, you're not right of center. But what is your thinking on all this? When you have somebody like Biden, who is obviously not fit for the job, do we vote him back in because we don't like the other guy? Do we? Why isn't the left stepping up and saying he's not fit? We need to run somebody else. Why aren't they? Why do they think Biden could beat Trump? because and why are they trying to make Trump go to jail? Which I guarantee if he wasn't running, none of this would be going on with the court stuff. So they're afraid of Trump. They don't want to put somebody better in than Biden. What's the left doing?
Well, at this point, we had a taste of what each candidate can do. We saw what happened under the Trump administration, then we saw what's happening with the Biden administration. So, I mean, for me personally, I'm not happy with either side as far as choices go.
Mm-hmm.
So then, we're kind of stuck until the next election, or unless somebody comes up or somebody else comes up, right? I mean, if you don't like, what are we supposed to do if we don't like either? So then it becomes like a zero sum game. So then people are going to look at the terms of, kitchen table issues. Which one is going to affect me in my personal life more? And that's why, at most of the polls that I've seen, they're neck and neck right now, despite, the court things.
Most of what I am seeing in the polls is Trump is up between 6 and 8 points in every one of the battleground states. And that he's up, if the election were to be held today, so say the polls, Trump would win by 2 points. Trump would win by 4 points. Trump would win by 12 points. Vegas has him winning. Excuse me, carbonation. So, and then I hear people from the left, like news media, that are saying, "Oh, those polls are all wrong. Biden's up by 6 points." Well, I look up the polls, and that's not what's going on. It's like, are you guys deliberately? Why are you lying about this? Can you not win on the benefits of your own goodness? You've got to make up shit, and that's what bothers me on the left right now. It's like, let him win on his own merits, and if Biden were to win on his own merits, he wouldn't win. And right now, I'm seeing an awful lot that's indicating Trump is ahead. He was ahead everywhere. And it was until last week, it was only Michigan that he was down by 2 points. It's just polls. And now the polls, as of this week, had him up by 4. So in every one of the battleground states, he's up. Now, we all know how polls go. But we also know that there are certain indicators in polls that have a record to them, a historical record. Like, no president has ever been reelected an incumbent who has had the kind of numbers in popularity that Joe Biden has. Never. Never has one candidate been up by these many points in so many of the battleground states and lost. Ever. And so now there's a first time for everything. And we all know things have been weird. So why hasn't the left run somebody better? I don't understand why they stuck with Joe Biden. Is it because the left would then have to say, well, then we'd have to look at the public and say, we were wrong keeping him in. We've been wrong defending him. We've been lying about his condition and all of this. I mean, is that what drives that? Because if the guy's not fit for office, don't run him again. Then that becomes elder abuse in a way. But, and what do you think? I know this is an unsavory topic and it sounds like one of those weird things, but I looked at it and I looked at the evaluation by body language specialists where they had just the other day, Joe Biden, they said, was crapping his pants in front of the press corps out on the green. And Jill even turned and walked away from. And I looked at it and they said, body language specialists said, that's exactly what's going on in that scenario. But if that's true, you've got a president that's in that state. If it's not true, you've got that much being made up about the president because he comes off as being somebody that does that because he's done it already. in front of, was it the Japanese prime minister or the prime minister of England? No, I can't remember which it was. But um, I look at that and I go, how is it even a contest? How is it even a question? I don't care if it was a guy on the right that was infirmed like that. I would hate it, but I would say, we can't run this guy we need somebody better in office. Why are we running him again? If he's infirmed or if he's mentally incapacitated, cognitively incapacitated. Um, and I see some of these pundits on the left go, Joe Biden's as sharp as he's ever been. He's the sharpest person in the White House. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Well, what are you saying about the White House staff then? And it's like, what did they do? They just shortened just the other day. Somebody was on the Sunday shows. One of the guys was on from the Biden campaign, explaining why they aren't having Joe Biden give long speeches. Well, why aren't you having him give long speeches? Why have you shortened his speeches? Well, because we really believe that the president can get his message across with brevity. Brevity is the root of wit, or wit is the what's the Shakespeare quote? Brevity is the something of wit. And the whole point being, well, we think that this is good, that he speaks to an audience and we're giving him shorter time so he can get his message across in clips that everybody can take with them. And I look at, and he's smiling through this whole thing, and I'm like, you are so full of shit. I said, I can't believe that anybody with a brain is buying what you're saying right now. You've got him speaking shorter because he can't hold on to his thoughts very long. And it's obvious by just watching him. What did they say just last month alone? Or the last 6 weeks prior to last week? They said he had 184 screw-ups in public speeches. Not a couple, 184. Then I see people on the left. I get into some of these conversations, or I view some of these conversations that are ongoing about Trump, calling Trump is because he said, what did he say? NYFD for the New York Fire Department. When everybody knows for years they've gone by FDNY, Fire Department of New York. Well, he called it the NYFD. Trump is obviously mentally incapacitated. I said, because he screwed up an acronym? I said, he didn't forget where he was. He didn't shit his pants in public. He didn't not remember any names. He mixed up some letters, which I do. And I'm not cognitively impaired. So, it's like I said to that person, I said, are you serious? I said, my 14-year-old son can mix up an acronym. I said, he's not cognitively impaired. But that's what the left is doing. They're trying to make Trump look as bad as they can anyway. Even the trial that Trump's in now, having Stormy Daniels on the stand is absolutely immaterial to the case. The case has nothing to do with her. The case is about his bookkeeping. Her testimony is nothing more than trying to, well, you can say he did this by himself, but it's to make the president look bad, the former president look bad. It's to have her on to say her piece when she knew nothing about the bookkeeping. And I heard somebody say today, my first question as Stormy Daniels would be, 8 years ago when this first came up, or was it 13 years ago? Why are you asking for money? If you wrote about this and it's all about just exposing the president, why were you asking for money? Why were they paying you money? What was the money for? In other words, you were being paid for a reason by Michael Cohen, the attorney for Trump. So you're being paid for what? A story that you're making public in your book? Or you were being paid to not go public before the election? Were you blackmailing the president with your story? Was it extortion? And so these questions would be, and so I look at all this that's going on right now. You got a judge in this case that is a huge Biden donor, he and his wife. So there's conflict of interest. He should have recused himself on that alone. But you've got your star witness, Michael Cohen, has gone to prison for perjury. You've got, so he's a liar. He's a convicted liar. You've got, what was the one other thing about this case that was really out there? Oh, you've got a crime that's not a crime. You've got what he did supposedly in this bookkeeping. His lawyer was his fixer and would pay for things. He would submit a bill to Trump. Here's the work you owe me for. Trump would write him a check. Just like any attorney and businessman who's got 500 different companies would do. And never being told, well, what it's really for. Here's my bill for services rendered. And he got paid. This is what supposedly happened. Now, the statute of limitations on that ran out. And because it's a misdemeanor, that whole deal is a misdemeanor in New York. But the statute of limitations ran out. But Alvin Bragg pulled some strings and got it readmitted through a federal scheme, which he has no jurisdiction over. The feds had already looked at this and said it's not a case and threw it out a couple of years ago. They didn't even hear it. Now, Alvin Bragg, a state district attorney, brings it up on a federal level again. The judge allows it. The judge is a donor to Biden. The judge puts a gag order on the defendant, Trump, when gag orders aren't usually ever put on the defendant. Gag orders are put on to defend the defendant, who is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. You don't gag the defendant from talking about his own trial. That's unheard of. So you got all this stuff going on, and you say, yet they're saying Trump is criminal and could go to jail. Now he's saying I might send you to jail for contempt. And Trump says, constitutionally, I'm allowed to talk about my trial. You're putting a gag order on me, and he says it's unconstitutional. And Trump is just daring him to put him in jail. And so what do you got? Now, you look at this as a microcosm of the much bigger thing that's going on out there. What's going on with Trump? This is the only criminal trial he's facing. You got the Fani, what's her name thing. Fanny, I think, still applies, but you can call her Fani if you want. She's been discredited. You got Jack Smith has been highly discredited. Trial hasn't been called yet, but it's about to be, I think, because Jack Smith has now did not have jurisdiction to charge Trump with what he did. So with what he's saying Trump did. So what's happening now? Now they're deciding whether or not the whole thing is a mistrial. So everything that's going on against Trump is obviously trumped up, pun intended, or for lack of a better word. It's trumped up, and it's trumped up when he is the only opponent to the sitting president.
I think
that
yeah,
should be really obvious to everybody
if
they put on their thinking caps.
What's really obvious is to me is also in where we're getting our information from, because the news is not just the news. The news is always has bias and influence.
Yes.
So the news has become a weapon to persuade to a particular side, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, whether you watch Fox News or MSNBC or, they all have their own spin on it. And that's going to pretty much align to what their audience believes, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, because, even everything that you said against Biden, you can also be, you can turn on MSNBC or CNN and see that they're saying the same thing about Trump. Trump is farting in court. He's falling asleep.
Right.
Whatever. He's misspeaking at rallies or whatever. So, I mean, regardless, the point is sort of moot at this point because they're both old. Not just Biden. I mean, there's
Sure.
Between 3 and 5 years.
But I don't think it's about age. I think age is the misnomer. They're playing up the age thing. Well, Trump is just as old as Biden by a couple of years. It's not about age, because I know a lot of people that are older than Biden that are mentally cognitive.
Right.
So it's about ability to do the job.
Right.
Does Trump have the ability to do the job?
Fortunately or unfortunately, we live in a society where, ageism is a big deal.
How did I do that? Hold it. I hit something. I put on morning coffee with KB. No idea how I did that. Okay. At least it didn't start.
Everybody's on it now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that, it's going to come down to decision making, whether, and with people who have experienced, old people around them. So they're going to, whatever they think people of that age in the political sphere is going to be reflected on what they see on their personal sphere. If they see a rapid decline past a certain age, then that's going to influence their decision making on who should be or should not be president, right? So
yes.
So, but I mean, regardless if Trump is convicted or not, I don't think it's going to have a basis on the election, because right now the whole country is entirely too polarized.
I think if Trump gets convicted in this trial, first of all, it's going to show that judge is pretty inept, or that judge himself is really operating for one side of the issue, not for justice.
I mean, but you have to remember that judges are people too, and
yes, they are.
You're in a court of law. There's going to be some bias in influence, but you're trying to minimize that at the most.
Right.
So,
now that's like Erdogan in the last trial for the wasn't that the rape trial of this woman who charged 8 other guys with rape too, in her book. But she wins this. And Trump's word was, this is 30 years ago. He says, I don't even know the woman. I never did this. You got all kinds of testimony. He's not allowed to have a jury because he didn't do it at the right time. And I don't know how his lawyers missed that. There's all what do they fine him? $150+ million, and which was absolutely unheard of in a trial like that. So now they get it reduced as he is appealing that. It's going to a higher level now. Well, what does what's her name want? The DA. She didn't want him to win that appeal. She wanted him to have to pay $153 million, or she was going to start seizing his property in New York. But another judge said, no, that is not fair. That is not right. Nobody has to pay that kind of money for this, especially on appeal. We're going to lower that. So they lowered it. Now she's fighting to get it raised up again. And meanwhile, it's going to be appealed. And what about the judge? The judge's wife was putting up memes during the trial showing Trump in orange and put in prison. She was an advocate, and so was he, anti-Trump advocates. And this is the judge. These are the kinds of officials. You don't need one that's a pro-Trumper, but you need one that's not an anti-Trumper. That should be able to pro-Trump or anti-Trump should have to recuse either of them from trials, presiding over trials. But it won't. It didn't in either of those. Why? because I think there is something behind all of that to try to make sure that Trump cannot run for president.
Well, I mean,
They're trying to make him unelectable.
well, it's all gonna come down to the evidence.
It is. But would these trials even be going on if he wasn't running? No, they wouldn't.
I think they would. I mean,
I don't think they would have.
But
I don't think they would have.
Because I mean, you have to go through the whole, you get into the legal process. You have to have, reasonable, beyond reasonable doubt at some level, and you have to prove
unless that whole particular, like all along the way in these trials, everybody is somebody who is not a Trump supporter.
Now you're going into conspiracy theories.
It's conspiracy until it proves to be true. You look at it, is it not the truth?
How many people are involved in the justice system just to even get to this point? You're saying every single one of them is a Democrat.
I'm saying every single one of them is anti-Trump. And that can be proven, which means it's not conspiracy. The conspiracy only lies in, well, are they orchestrating all of this stuff together then? That's the conspiracy. Well, when you've got every judge, every DAs, two of them ran for office on taking down Trump and making sure he was not going to be electable again. Two of them in these 4 trials. You look at the people who are operating with the prosecutors in this current case in New York. It doesn't take much putting the dots together to go, wait a minute. All these people are people that worked under Biden's Department of Justice. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I could write this all down and bullet point it and probably be much clearer and more cogent. But the thing that you've got going here, it's not really a conspiracy theory because we see it happening all the time in other countries. We see we talk a lot about the banana republic factor in all of this. We see it all the time. We see it in Russia all the time. We saw it in the USSR all the time. You give me the crime and I'll find you the man to fit it. Was the head of the KGB at one point said that. And I think this is what you're seeing happening because we have a government in place right now that is allowing it to happen. It doesn't matter what your political persuasion is. It's whether or not you're operating under the rules of justice. And for one person, one single former president, to have all of this stuff thrown at him that is thrown at him, all these trials in an election year on top of it, and they're finding all these problems with the cases that have been filed against him and the people who filed them, that doesn't add up to a conspiracy theory to me. That adds up to a big story of plotting against somebody to make sure he cannot be elected. And you can call that conspiracy if you want. I don't think that's conspiracy because you can look at the facts and add them all up. And if you can do that, that's not a conspiracy theory. It's all the dots that need to be connected that make the conspiracy theory. But right now, all the facts are there. Nobody puts them together. You know how they can get away with it? Because nobody looks. Nobody looks it up. Nobody tries to decipher it. Nobody tries to connect the dots. And that's what's frustrating about watching it to me, Sarah.
I think on both sides it's also frustrating, but it's a gross lack of accountability on both sides.
Yes.
So
there is a gross lack of accountability. But we keep saying on both sides. I don't know how it's on both sides. If you charge somebody with something, it's either the person did that or the person didn't do that. And then it goes to trial. And yet everything, like in the Aragon case, everything was against Trump being able to defend himself in that. And then the astronomical fee that was charged to him when he appealed. Unbelievable.
But I mean, those astronomical fees, that's also, being based on a percentage of the income he said he had. He said, okay, I had this much cash in hand, and then they take a percentage of that. So if he's saying whether through appeal or not, he doesn't have the money.
Is there a fine, or is there a judicial law that says they have to charge him a percentage of his income or of his holdings, or is there a fine?
I mean, again, like
I've never been fined in accordance with my
what the rules
income
are in the state. I mean,
or anything.
it's the lack of consistency. So
right, if I get a parking ticket and I have to pay $130 because I make $75,000 a year, would Trump have to pay $1 million for his parking ticket because he makes more money? No, there are judicial fines. Hold on a second. Keep talking here. Yes, son. Yes. Okay. So I mean, that's my thinking on it. He wasn't fined based on his holdings.
For Eugene Carroll, he was.
The which one with Carol? What's her name?
Yeah, Eugene Carroll.
And he's appealing that. So
yeah, so the process is while the time is passing during the appeal, he has to put, I guess, 10% of that fine in escrow. So if he's able to do that, then that.
I know they've lowered that.
Right.
So because a judge looked at it and said, this is out of line. And I am really curious why Trump is the only one who's on trial when she accused 8 other guys of the same thing.
Those 8 other guys will probably not get the same. They probably don't have the same celebrity as Trump.
Right. You're right. It was all about making money.
No, I mean, that doesn't say in making money. I mean, the determination.
None of them were running against Biden, I can tell you that, except Trump. And this particular woman, she also said she found rape fashionable or fun in her book. Yet she's suing Trump for it, for groping her in and the jury even said it wasn't rape, and they had to lower it to I think the judge lowered it to what do they call it? Inappropriate touching or something. And even that was vague because there wasn't enough evidence to prove that he raped her, other than her, who had accused 8 other guys saying it happened.
Yeah, but she's not even the first to go through this. Trump has been this with multiple women. You had a pattern of behavior over a period of time, and then you had the whole Billy Bush thing come out, which confirmed it because he said it in his own voice.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had the same thing happen with Biden, but I haven't seen any action taken against Biden.
When did that happen with Biden? I think the only thing I heard was like he kissed a woman that he wasn't supposed to or something. But
there was a woman that accused him of rape, and she was shut down like you wouldn't believe.
Well, then that needs to come to light.
She wasn't given the same voice as literally the crazy woman who won the case against him.
So then if that's true, then that needs to be brought to light. That needs to be given the same amount of time.
Sure it does. This is why I think they're working on an impeachment of Biden. There's all kinds of things in this impeachment that's being called a foolish impeachment. But of course, these are by the same people who felt that the phone call issue with Trump, that he should be impeached for that. So they tried to impeach Trump 9 times. From this day 2 of his administration was the first filing for impeachment. And 9 different times before they impeached him. And then the Senate vacated it. Then they impeached him again, and the Senate vacated that one. And now he's running again, and all these trials start. It's going to be the same thing all over again. So, yet you've got people that are accused of doing the same things on the other side. Nobody's doing anything about them because it's not resisting. What we're not paying attention to is how large that machine is on the left and how many pockets it reaches into and how much influence it has over what's being done. Now, it's like everybody says, Pelosi was very famous for saying, nobody's above the law, which, we heard that when Nixon was a president. Nobody's above the law regarding Trump. Well, you know what? Trump is not below the law either. He deserves the same rights that anybody else does, which is innocence until proven guilty. And Susie Q says, yeah, they shut her down. As Tamara says, elections have been stolen many times over the years. Yes, it's on both sides. We, the people, are the ones that need to bring through and demand more truth. I agree.
And that, that's what I was saying about earlier. It's a kind of accountability.
It is.
You have to have accountability in order to have something to survive.
And it's going to take an incredibly, for lack of a better word, morally upright judge and people involved in district attorneys. It would take a moral uprightness to completely despise Donald Trump and still stand up for his rights as a citizen. There are some I know one of them, and of course he gets discredited now as much as it's so funny that people loved Trump until he ran for office. The whole country did, for the most part. Loved Trump until he ran for office as a conservative. Then there's guys like Shapiro. Lawyer all his life, has worked for Harvard, I think it is, or Yale. And he said, look, he said, Jewish Democrat. He says, I'm a liberal. He says, I don't like Donald Trump. He says, but he's being railroaded. And he says, if you can't see it, you're not looking. And this is a guy who says, I've never voted for Trump. I would never vote for Trump. He says, but he should not be on trial for, some of these trials should never have even been brought to court. He says, I'm surprised they're even brought to court. And he teaches law. He's been teaching law at Harvard or Yale, and he's in his 80s now. Not Shapiro. What is it? Shapiro? It's because it's not Ben Shapiro. I'm thinking of it's. He does a lot of commentary on the news. Shapiro, didn't he get his?
I don't know a Shapiro, but I mean, I know there's Alan Dershowitz.
Dershowitz, that's who I'm thinking of. Alan Dershowitz, and he is not a conservative, and he's not a Trump liker, but he is also somebody who knows the law and knows the Constitution. And he says, this is a man that's being railroaded, and the public is allowing it to happen. And it shouldn't be. There should be an outcry on this. And he can't find anything in any of the trials where Trump deservedly belongs in front of a judge. And on the ones where he was in front of a judge for the rape of this woman that wrote a book about all of her experiences 30 years after the fact, and he was charged with that and lost. There were so many irregularities in that case and so many situations where the judge should have recused himself but didn't, because there was, you can call it a conspiracy, there was an orchestrated effort to take him down and prevent him from running. And these are the things where we say, oh, that's conspiracy there. And I'm not mocking you. I'm saying people will say this is conspiracy. Oh, it's too much reads like a novel. Well, this is where real life is sometimes crazier than fiction, because it's going on right under our noses. And we've seen this go on before, just not in our country. And now it is. What are we doing about it? That's the scary thing, is that this is allowed to go on. And I think a point that needs to be made is if you allow this to happen to Trump, this can happen to the next president too, if he's on the other side of the fence. So we need to maintain law. And we need to maintain constitutional law. And we need to maintain the whole innocent until proven guilty. Everything. And so, I don't know. Yeah, Josh says that judge's wife was in bed with the Dems too. Yes, she was. All of that should have recused him from presiding over that case. And the law is supposed to be blind. The blindfolded law with the scales of justice. I don't think any of these so far have that. Any of these cases you're looking at. Josh needs link, says Susie Q. The link to what? To the show?
He
Yeah.
wants to call in. I'll jump off. He can call in.
Oh, I can take up to 9 callers at least, I think.
Oh, I know. I'm just listening at this point.
Okay, there's
Falling asleep.
So anyway, and I don't know all the facts. I mean, I don't have them bullet pointed in front of me. So I'm just going off the top of my head, Sarah, but the stuff I look at, I find these cases to be really dubious. And the stuff with right now, we kind of started talking about Stormy Daniels on the stand. What does Stormy Daniels have to do with a case about bookkeeping? Other than to say, well, this was a thing he supposedly was paying for. But it's immaterial to the case. So why is she there? She is there as a show. And she's there to discredit the guy who's on trial. But not to present any cogent facts that are pertaining to what he's on trial for. The trial is all about making payments that were supposed to payments. What was it that were supposed to be to affect the presidential race or something? She didn't have anything to do with that. She just received payments. She didn't make them. It could have been to Burger King, frankly. And so she is immaterial. It's all for show. Right, Susie? It's all for show. And that's what bothers me about all of this, Sarah.
It's a circus.
It's a circus. Yeah. So, Josh Kemp, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, brother?
You're seeing it. This is it. What's shaking?
Yes. Getting ready for some bad weather. But
Well, you're in the zone down there.
yeah. But yeah, it's a crap show. I'm glad I got in when you was just saying that about the great porn star. So,
Yeah. And
I don't know how that judge let her be a witness when they ain't gonna allow election FEC. I think that's what it's called. Witness for Trump to testify.
yeah, it's for show, as Sarah said, and as
Well, I mean,
Susie
I think he's
said.
going to get off. He's not going to.
I think he will be acquitted.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be tough for him to be acquitted in New York.
Yeah.
That's the problem
Well,
with that one.
Well, he'll get acquitted. Yeah,
He'll be acquitted.
He'll have probably have to be appellate. But yeah,
And the judge now, in the last 2 days, threatening, he's 10 times now. He's charged Trump with contempt, $1,000 a shot. Trump can afford $10,000. But at the same time, The judge is telling him, I'm going to have to look at this thing. He says, as to whether or not I'm going to have to put you in jail if you do this again, to keep up the decorum of his court. And yet the decorum of his court is not, from the beginning, he shouldn't even be presiding over this. He should have recused himself ethically. It's an ethical issue. But what's I going to say about that? With Trump, Trump has even said, well, the judge said, you might just be the next president. And he says, I would still have to do this. And there's the judge admitting right there that he knows the possibility that Trump is going to be acquitted is high. The
gag order is supposed to protect the defendant.
Protect the defendant.
Yes.
Yes. That's what gag orders are for. And now the judge has come out and said, well, I'm protecting Trump from himself so he doesn't yap his mouth away. But everybody else is allowed to.
Yeah.
You got Michael Cohen
out there on TV shows.
The prosecution is able to talk his head. He's making money off of it on a podcast, talking about the trial every day.
Oh, yeah.
But Trump can't talk about it?
That
tells you something right there. There is a bias there.
And you track that case with the Fulton County case.
Yep.
Fannie. I'll say Fannie.
Fannie works for
if
she was an upstanding person, I would defend her right, and I would respect her position. But she has proven herself to be, even the judge who won't recuse her from the case has saying, what's the word he used? What was, Sarah, do you remember the word the judge used? He was saying this whole case from Fannie Willis and her boyfriend that has been
Wade. I know that.
Wade. He called it something. There was a word he used that basically means this is all full of lies and deception. And it's getting really old. And he used another word. It was a more, officious word for it. And I can't think of what it was. But he said this whole case is starting to stink of, and he used a word that I can't think of what it is now. Stink of lying stinkiness, in other words, in legalese. And even the judge that is an old friend of hers said that. So you start looking at this stuff and you start going, I have this feeling, and I knock on wood when I say this, I think it's going to be a really interesting reaction when Trump walks from every one of these things he's been indicted on.
You got them 2 state cases. Both of them state cases, they all met at the White House.
Yes, they did.
And you got the
that came out in the news, not 2 weeks ago, that all of these states that are throwing these cases, these trials against Trump right now, they all were in a meeting together at the White House months ago, conspiring this.
Yes.
Why isn't that being thrown out there who put that out? It was the New York Times that put that out, I believe.
Yep.
Which the New York Times is no friend to Trump.
Oh,
but
no.
They put that out. They go, wait a minute. This is too big to ignore. But you don't see anything happening. It's weird to me.
And you got the documents case where they were Jack Smith screwing up.
Yep.
With the evidence.
Tampered with the evidence. He admitted just last week that they tampered with the evidence.
That case is
they presented to the judge. It should have been thrown out a long time ago.
That's going to get thrown out, or it ain't going to be heard before.
And of course, Biden can't be taken to trial for the same thing because the special counselor said he did these things. He said we did not excuse him for this. He's just too old and feeble and not cognitive enough to stand trial.
Uh,
And the
where's
left
the-
went absolutely bananas on that.
Yeah, where's
Do you
the
want him to go to trial?
where's the 25th on that?
Yeah. So I got to tell you, you start looking at all this stuff and you go, it's a mess. And you need somebody in there that's going to clean that bullshit up. Now, one person can't do it. But I will say this, and Sarah, I'm with you on this. I don't dislike Trump, but he's not my favorite. But he's the guy I will end up voting for because I think it's the only way to get us out of the mess we're in currently. Because remember, I said it when Trump ran last time. I said Trump didn't get elected the first time because he was the feel-good, nice guy president, the pristine, do everything by the book and nice guy, and it makes you feel good. He was elected as the get shit done president, the GSD we called him, get shit done. He's going in and he's going to clean up the economy and the border and things like that. That's why he got elected. And he's somebody, we were crying for somebody like a businessman to take the office. Well, we got one in Trump, but he was on the right, not on the left. So you got the whole apparatus. 80s. What did was it the New York Times? I think it was the New York Times where they came in. Somebody just the other day said, I was at the New York Times and we did a poll and we found out that 87% of our staff and writers were liberal Democrat.
Yeah.
And he said that made me that made me resign. He says, not because I'm a Republican, but because there's
It was NPR.
Yeah, NPR, that's what it was. And he said, I resigned because why? Not because he was a Republican or a conservative, but because he says that cannot properly represent the news. And it doesn't when you look at their stories and their spin on things. And I think you got that with the news media across the board, with rare exception. Now, Fox might be more the other way conservative, but this is where I say Fox definitely counterbalances CNN and MSNBC. If you want one or the other, they counterbalance each other. Watch them both and find out what they're saying.
Well, and nowadays Fox really ain't that conservative. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah, Fox is slidden down the conservative pole, and so there it is. So people who don't see this are the ones that, I don't mean this to be offensive to anybody, not you, Sarah, because you're here. You're a smart person. You like to look things up. You like to know what you're talking about. And yet I find that there are a lot of people in your position that don't like Trump, so they're kind of okay with what's going on, and they don't want to see the news media as part of the problem, that are linked in with the leftist politicians or the what's the word? I'm not juggernaut, the machine that is in place in office right now with the Department of Justice. And all of this is working together to push an agenda. The news media is not supposed to be there to push agendas. They're supposed to be there to report the news.
Exactly.
Honestly. That's it.
And they're not.
I mean,
they
right
should
now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that they just need to present unbiased data and let everyone make a decision for themselves. It would be without the persuasive, this means this means that. Just put the unbiased data on there and have people form their own conclusions.
Yeah.
Which, we don't get that anymore. And it is a problem. And
I like Epic News.
At least some form of checks and balances, whether the news media organization is going to be check and balancing by itself. I mean, if you have, CNN checking in on Fox, Fox checking on CNN. Because if a news network, a major news network, got something wrong, you would think that all the other news networks will be pouncing on them.
You'd think, but they're not.
They're not. Again, it's accountability.
Yes.
In
It's a
you
thing
know,
of
the news media
accountability.
organization, it's part of the big machine that you said. We have to have a news media organization in order to have a government. Because
And
that's our
Yes.
primary that's our primary link from the being the average person to what the government does, but somewhere along the line everything got flipped. The government is supposed to serve us. We are not supposed to serve the government.
Well, right. I look at, for instance, I just said this today. It was playing in the background, and I saw a thing with Kareem Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, and questions being asked her, and she's shutting people down, and she's getting angry at the questions they're asking, and it's just reporters saying. She would say to one reporter, "I'm not going to take any more questions from you. We're done. I've already answered that. Next." And that person goes, "Well, I want to pick up where they left off." And she's getting mad at them too. And I'm like, "Hey, Kareem, you work for us. You don't work to defend the president. You work for the people of the United States." Now, they don't see themselves that way. Do you think like Biden, does he see himself as an employee of the people of the United States? No, he doesn't. Well, then again, I don't think cognitively he even thinks about that stuff, frankly. My grandfather had cognitive disability at the end of his life. He was still himself, but at the same time, he was slipping and slipping miserably. I wouldn't have put him in charge of the country.
Mine did also. So
Yeah. Now I got to tell you something. My dad is 84. My dad is not presidential material. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening. He's not. He wouldn't be the president of the United States. It's not his thing. It's not where his skills lie. But I can tell you what, he's more cognitive than Joe Biden. He knows right from wrong. He knows what he's doing. He knows where he is. He gets in his car and his truck, and he drives to the next town to go to the hardware store.
He knows how to. I bet he know how to get off the stage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't poop in his pants.
Well, my dad just went out and he's got some property in Ohio, and he was never a businessman. He was a mechanic for Ford Motor Company. I think he took an early retirement decades ago. And bought his land, and he built, and now his wife passed away in the last couple of years. And but he's got a little antique shop. Don't think of it in your quaint, Hallmark Channel couple in romantic love antique shop. One of them is not like that. He's got one of those roadside. Come into my pole barn, and take a look at my antique junk stuff I've collected. And you can buy it, and so he does that, and it's really cool. And he wants us to move down there, and he wants Rainey to run that for him, which I think would be kind of fun. But which reminds me, I owe my dad a call here. But my dad could, having never been in business, has cognitive awareness. He can jump in his car. He can drive. He knows where he is. He knows who he is. He knows my name. Was it that there was some guy talking to Biden on film just the other day, and the guy said all kinds of stuff praising Biden. He's a young man. You see him kind of from over his shoulder behind him. He's looking at Joe, and Joe Biden's looking at him. And he said, "Yeah, there's this, and I'm so thankful you're doing this and that and this, and we're with this organization and that." And Biden's standing there just looking at him, going, he looks off.
Yeah, he just
talking, and he doesn't say a word, and he just turns and walks away, shuffles away. He doesn't know what to say. He's got no words. He's not there. This is what scares me about Joe Biden. They get them pumped up on some kind of chemical. Maybe, Sarah, you'd know what it is, the kind of stuff they give somebody who is slipping mental, and they can give them something. I've heard the drugs mentioned before. It gives them a temporary boost.
It's got to be some amphetamine and
I don't know
something
what
else.
it is, but they pump him up sometimes. But I don't think he can maintain.
And
Any
also
guess?
another issue of if neither of them are, if either of them come into office and, something happens, who their vice president is going to be, which, that's also.
You want Kamala Harris to be the vice president or be the president?
No.
Hell no.
No.
She was rejected by the people. She only got 2% of the vote in their primaries the last time around. The people did not want her. But who does Biden appoint as vice president? Person the people didn't want. They rejected her.
Is he bound to keep her at this point, or is that set in stone? Or
I haven't heard anything about her being taken out.
Well, no, I mean as vice president, and I mean, has it gone through officially? Because I think Trump is shopping for his.
Well, no, it don't go officially through until the convention. So.
Oh yeah, the convention they have to. They could still replace her, but so far they're saying they aren't. You know why they're saying that? They can't let the American public see that they believe they've made a mistake.
They could technically
end the election for them right there.
They could technically replace Biden at the convention.
Yeah, they could replace Biden at the convention.
That'd be 1968 all over again.
Yeah, and it just might happen. You know, I will tell you this: I'm a conservative, but I'd vote Democrat if they had a candidate that I believed was going to do good for the country.
I hate to say it, Kennedy.
Yeah. I don't even hate to say it, Josh. I know where you're going. I have no problem. I don't agree with everything Kennedy does. But you know what? I'd vote for him if he was the viable option to win. Right now, he's not a viable option over Trump.
No.
I hate to say that.
No, he's not. But if he was the only Democrat running, I believe he would probably run neck and neck.
But the Democrats shut him down.
Yep.
Why? Oh, he wasn't Democrat enough for them.
Yeah, he's not far left.
Because he believes in things that the current administration, the current party in control doesn't want to have enacted.
Yeah, he is not
and you know, I think they want Biden, and maybe this sounds conspiracy theory. I think they want to keep Biden in because they don't have to worry about Biden.
Yeah, they got strings pulling.
Yeah, they're in control of him, so they can control who he is and what he's doing. They couldn't do that with RFK.
No.
I liked Tulsi Gabbard. Do I agree with everything she says? No. Do I like her? Immensely. I'd have voted for her.
You say that, and I think I still have hope that's who Trump should pull for VP. So.
Yeah, I'd like to see either her or he was thinking Kristi Noem until Kristi Noem kind of pun intended. You know, I think that there are other really good people. He's been looking at Tim Scott. He's been looking at Vivek Ramaswamy. He's been looking at some of these other guys. There's a short list, a long short list. I could see Tulsi Gabbard if she wants the job anymore. You know, maybe she doesn't want to do that anymore. I don't know.
Well, I think she wants it. I mean, the interviews I've seen. So.
I'd love to see her as his vice president. I think she would be fantastic. Setting her up for presidency, probably a really good thing.
Because
Trump
I mean-
needs somebody that the country can believe that if for any reason he is no longer able to serve, that president, vice president can step right in and do the job. There needs to be no fucking around with that. And so
I mean, she's more of a classic liberal.
I think RFK Jr., by the way, I think he hurt himself with his vice presidential candidate. I think that shot him in the foot. So
yeah.
Anyway,
But-
we are over time. I got to call this show for the night. We never did hear from Rocky Stucci. Rocky, I hope you're hearing this.
Yeah,
So
Rocky, hope you heard it. I was hoping to talk to Rocky, but
yeah, he got home, and apparently sometimes you walk in the door when you get home, you're gonna have the best laid plans, and they all get changed for you.
he probably went to sleep.
It might be. Josh, thanks for calling in, brother.
All right, brother.
I'll talk to you soon. Sarah, thank you for being here. As always, I appreciate your input. You gave me fodder to talk.
It's just, I feel like I've lit a stick of dynamite now.
Yeah, you did.
A rocket.
Thank you
I
for
did
that.
a rocket.
Look at me. Look what I can do. All right. Thanks for being here, Sarah. We'll see you next time.
Okay. See you guys.
All right. Have a good day tomorrow. Bye-bye. Everybody else, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the show. And I appreciate your presence here. It means a lot to me. And we're going to get out of here. So thanks for being here for Intrepid Radio and the post-show, The Captain's Cabin. So everybody live long and prosper.